It's no secret that the newborn stage is one of the most challenging and difficult parts of parenthood, and yet it's also amazing and rewarding at the same time. But here's the thing, I don't believe it needs to be as difficult as it is for a lot of people. And I know that sounds crazy, but hear me out. Before I became a mom, I'd read all these books, gone to all the classes, looked at research papers, and watched the videos, and there were so many parts of newborn life that absolutely floored me when I got there. I wasn't expecting a lot of the different developmental things. I wasn't expecting the challenges and the hurdles, and a lot of the challenges that I was expecting, although I read about them in the books, nobody told me how to deal with them. Nobody gave me tips. And so this is what I want to do for you in this video. I'm going to give you the best tips and tricks that I've come up with to help me and my husband not only survive, but thrive in the newborn stage. Because honestly, this time goes by so quick, and you deserve to enjoy it and make the most out of it. If you're new here, hi, my name is Sierra. I am your local little friend in motherhood, and I would love for you to join us for more videos down the line, especially if you have a little one either now or on the way. I'm going to have so many informative videos coming out, and so many just relatable videos too. But without further ado, let's get into the 30 best tips to survive the first 6 weeks. The first tip I have for you is to embrace the chaos of this season. Now, this might look different for a lot of you because I know many of you might have heard the advice of let the house go, just focus on the baby. But for me, I couldn't do that. I needed to have a clean environment. But what it did mean for me is it wasn't the same standard of clean that I'm normally used to, and every day looked different. I used to be so tied to my routine, and giving that up fully let me enjoy the newborn stage for what it is, and that is new every day. There isn't a single day that has looked the same, and in the first 2 weeks, I tried so hard to make it look the same each day. I tried to have tummy time planned out at exactly this time, and then we would go and read a book at this next time, but babies don't work like that, especially newborns, and the more you go with the flow, the more I swear you're going to enjoy the little moments. Number 2, cliche, I know, but sleep when the baby sleeps. If they have a nap period during the day, especially in those first 2 weeks, I think I tried about 2 times a day to take a nap. Now, I know this is a luxury that not everybody has, but I kept a bedside bassinet and I would just tuck myself in and sleep for maybe 10-20 minutes if I could, and it made all the difference in the world. Number 3 and 4 are kind of related, but number 3 is going to be eat healthy. And number 4 is make sure to stay hydrated. Now, when I say to eat healthy, I'm not talking about eating salads 24/7, but the newborn stage brings out this little side of you where you're going to want a quick fix. You might want a sugar rush. You might want just an easy carby kind of meal. But if you can go ahead beforehand and make sure you stock up on just some protein bars. I got mine at Walmart. I got the great value version of everything, but I made myself this lovely little snack cart. I had those, and then I also had, as number 4 states, body armors for the middle of the night feeds, as well as a little bit of water. I made sure to keep my hydro flask with me at all times. That way I had water with me. And I made the rule for myself every time I would sit down to feed her. If I had not eaten in a while, I would just eat my snack, and I would make sure that every feed I drank about 8 ounces of water, give or take. And this kept my supply up and really supported my body, especially as I'm kind of getting some of those fluids out postpartum. Speaking of breastfeeding, tip number 5 is make your breastfeeding time enjoyable for you. Yes, in an ideal world, every time you breastfeed, you'd be talking and interacting with your baby. But to be honest, my baby was getting really sleepy at the boob. And this is something I was okay with happening. This is something that actually led her to create pretty good sleep habits in my case. And so I didn't want to overstimulate her in those moments. And I also wanted to make sure that during the night feeds, I kept myself awake, because trust me, when it comes to 2 a.m., 3 a.m., a lot of you have newborns out there and you know what I'm talking about. It can be so hard to stay awake. So for me, that was legitimately putting in my earbuds and watching a show. I ended up in the first month watching all of How I Met Your Mother, and now I finished all the Harry Potter movies and I'm looking for my next thing. But as ridiculous as that might seem, not only did I keep myself awake in those moments, but I made breastfeeding, even at my 2, 3, 4 a.m. times, something I could look forward to. Number 6 is going to look different for everybody, but I believe it's really important to get support, whether that's family, friends, your spouse. If you're married, it should very well be your spouse, but whoever it is, make sure you're asking for support and leaning on people. If you don't have a big village, this is a great time to start building one. And I know it doesn't seem like it. I know you don't want to get out of the house, but there's virtual postpartum support groups. Your hospital might have a postpartum support group. There are reading times at the library once your baby gets just a little bit bigger, and making sure that you go out and have those connections, or making sure that you're very diligent about opening yourself up and asking for that help where you need it, will make your experience so much better. For me, that looked like asking my family for a meal train on certain nights when she was really colicky. Even if that was 3-4 weeks in and it felt ridiculous for me to ask for support, I made sure that I did it anyways and kind of humbled myself in that regard, because you can't do it all. You might want to, I know I wanted to, but it's not healthy to expect that of yourself, and you deserve so much more than that. Number 7 is actually a tip for partners out there, so go ahead and feel free to grab them if you want, or send them a little clip of this. But if you're feeling like you can't support your partner, or your partner feels like they can't support you with breastfeeding, there are different ways that they can do that. For my husband, that looked like bringing me water and filling it up during night feeds, and then helping with the diaper change and burping. When that was done, it allowed me to settle myself, get myself ready for breastfeeding with the boppy, and having something to catch my letdown on the other side, and it made it so much more peaceful for me to have that second to catch my breath. So if you have a partner and they're struggling with that, just think of little things like that that might be really helpful, that are related to breastfeeding but not actually breastfeeding in itself. 8. When it gets overwhelming, practice mindfulness in motherhood. This might look different for everybody, but for me specifically, when I was getting really overwhelmed, because trust me, no matter how you think you're going to react, I thought I was going to react a lot better with the crying. But when it gets to a certain point, that cortisol rising in your body does make you feel stressed out. What I would do is I would take a few deep breaths and then focus on how little her little hands and feet really were. That helped remind me that A, this stage is completely temporary. They're not going to be this little for long, and B, she can't help this. She's not giving me a hard time, she's having a hard time. She's so little and so precious, and having that mindful aspect helped keep me in that zone. 9, take a social media break for just the newborn phase. And if you're not going to do that, curate who you follow to control what voices you're hearing and what you're seeing, because there's something about the newborn phase that makes all of the posts in regards to like how your baby's gonna die or the ways you're feeling as a mom scream out at you more than ever. 10, when the baby is crying and it is super loud and starting to get to you, put in noise-canceling headphones or earplugs. Just make sure you have the baby in your sight, but this will really bring down the cortisol in your body and help you respond to baby more calmly, which in turn makes baby calm too. You might have heard of eat, play, sleep, but number 11 for me is going to be wake, diaper change, play, and then feed to sleep. Feeding to sleep actually is great for my mental health. If it's not good for yours, of course, don't do it, but it makes her sleep very soundly, and this is a habit I don't mind having with her. So if you don't mind having that habit, it's a very natural way for your baby to get soothed into a nice deep sleep. Number 12, keep your hair up away from their hands, and you will be able to have long, beautiful hair after, instead of having giant bald spots from where they pulled your hair from your head. Number 13, get outside, go for a walk, go for a hike. I know it's scary to bring them outside, and I did personally wait 2 weeks, but if you have a wrap carrier, this is a great opportunity to use it and just get that fresh air. It's going to be wonderful for you, wonderful for baby. And bonus tip, if you do this at night, it can help start to set their circadian rhythm, and so they can get into that night sleep faster than those babies who are indoors in blackout curtain rooms all day. Number 14, your baby loves the sound of your voice. Sing to them. I don't care if you don't think you have a good voice. Your baby is your biggest fan right now. They feel the way that people feel about Taylor Swift, about your voice. So take this opportunity, sing your heart out to them. And bonus tip, lullabies don't necessarily matter right now because they don't know English. They just know tonation and the sound of your voice. So if you need to sing 50 Cent songs to them to get them to bed, it's going to be okay, and if it saves you your sanity, go ahead and do it. 15, expect the second night after having your baby to be awful. They're going to cluster feed to try to establish your supply and bring your milk in, and so if you don't get sleep, it's not that you're failing as a mom. If they're cluster feeding, it's not that you're not feeding them enough. This is natural and completely normal, but also a complete bummer because you're probably tired from giving birth the day before. I think it's really tempting to feel like babies at this stage need all of the things, when in reality, all they need is you and a few small essentials. One thing I want to tell you before I end this video is that you are doing a wonderful job. The fact that you're watching this video, taking your time out of your day, whether it be while the baby's napping or while you're still pregnant, shows that you are a dedicated mama and you are going to do great. They're a lot easier when you get the hang of them and when they get the hang of this world. So just hold on tight. The newborn stage does not last forever. I can attest that as someone who is exiting it right now. And even though it's difficult right now, I promise that somehow in your heart, you're going to look back on this and miss it. Whether it be their tiny feet and tiny toes, those smiles they have in their sleep, or the way they scrunch when you pick them up. Savor those little moments because they don't last forever, and neither does the hardship or the pain. With that being said, we have reached the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching, and feel free to go ahead and like and subscribe. I've got more content like this coming out, talking about how to read your baby properly, how to do tummy time, especially if your baby hates tummy time like mine, and just things like that. And as always, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.